Gundam card game enthusiasts, welcome back to Mobile Suit Arena. We had no stream to recap from Bulldog Community Gaming LLC, so we're over here doing some Gundam card game action again at Mobile Suit Arena. But before we jump into a casual game with Unicorn Blockers, if you guys are looking for a place to play some hot Gundam card game action, check out Bulldog Community Gaming LLC in Brownsburg, Indiana, Tuesday nights, 6:30, $5 entry, as well as you guys can come in to play that hot Gundam card game action. Check the links down in the description below for Bulldog's Twitch and Facebook page where you can come join the Gundam card game action live as it's happening. Once again, Tuesday nights, 6:30. So anyways, as I said, we're playing Unicorn Blockers. The deck I am playing is down in the pinned comment. Without further ado, we're going to jump into a casual match with our deck and see how well we do. All right, folks, here we go. We're going to go second. Again, we're not in red or in aggression, so there's no point in going first in this match. That's, yeah, we'll keep that hand. That has the overflowing affection. That's the first thing we can go for the turn. Time to see what our opponent is on. They flip over one. Nothing they can do. Of course, there's not much you can do unless you're CB, and CB has the ability to actually have a 1-drop as a level 1 drop. So we'll draw 2. We'll select to get rid of that one. These can attack the base, so there's not great reasoning to keep them all in hand, but this is actually not too bad hand right now. No Unicorn. A couple of Zakus. So we have a couple of Zaku 2s. This is the one where if it swings on when it attacks, it gets an extra AP. Armor Array is pretty nice. We'll drop that. Unfortunately, that is not a link with because it has to link with Earth Alliance, and unfortunately, this is not Earth Alliance. But if we see Akira, that's pretty nice to go with that. A Rick Dom Man, another Zaku 2. Man's going to just play all the Zaku 2s. Zaku 2s for days. My opponent is just going to pass it from there on me. All right. Guess we'll just play this. And I think, honestly, we'll just end the turn. Yeah, it sucks because we have all these Zaku 2s here, and I mean, there's not much we can really do about it, but the aspect here is that we can easily block out here, kill this off. So it's going to go in for that attack. We'll block here, killing off the Zaku 2. We take 1 damage. If the Dom comes in after this, we can just have the Dom hit here. We can go out and have the block here with the Dom, meaning that okay, so he's just going to go after that. We'll skip the block phase this turn. Because next turn we can drop L Strike, attach Amuro, and bounce one of his guys back to hand. Swinging again. I want this to be the block we have to deal with. We're going to skip blocking. While this does have Breach and it sucks, I'd rather get this 3/3 Breacher off the battlefield. Alright, we lost then. Show of Resolve. We will block. Well, it's not great because we do lose out. We probably should have just passed on the block because either way, but I think trading out the bodies isn't bad, even if we have to get the top card of our shield here as we get the Benanger. What's Benangers? Civilian and new type. Couple of G-Freds. Another like a couple of G-Fred men. Well, there's the Unicorn if we saw Little Unicorn. Which we're not seeing Little Unicorn. Let's go attack and kill. So we'll trade out. Then after that, we can drop and drop. And then we can end our turn. I know it's a little strange, but again, this does give us the ability to block out this and block out a G-Fred, one of the G-Freds, meaning we only take 1 damage point here, and I really don't see much of a reason just to burn out just yet. For this, we're going to block out. Trade the G-Fred against my guy. And again, the problem that he has is that he's a, his whole deck is very much on, we're going to let that block go through. His whole gimmick is that he's a rush style deck. Here, as we see, it's Zeon Rush or Zeon Aggro, depending on how you how you view it. So the whole gimmick of the deck really is that it just brings down a whole lot of bodies, so his hand gets ripped up very quick. So there's not much of a reason for anything, so we're just going to get a pass on that one. All right, so from here, I think we now play the L Strike. We don't want to burn the Bonanger because we do have both of these coming up. So we are going to burn the Amuro under this. That's going to allow us to select to bounce back that. And then the Amuro effect to rest that. And then we can kill this. This still leaves us one blocker standing. So that does trade out there, meaning that we traded that, and now we will just go to the end phase here and pass from there. We're at level 6 right now, meaning next 7 we now have the Unicorn as well, meaning that next turn we can drop this Unicorn onto the battlefield and mainly be able to do that. Ooh, that's pretty dangerous. That is full frontal on the board state right now. That is scary to see a full frontal. So full frontal can attack the shields and then do 2 damage to a unit. And he does have high maneuver. We can act that Kira to our hand, which is pretty nice, meaning that we do now have the Sword Strike we can actually now work with. So G-Fred coming in, we will block out. This will be a trade between the L Strike and the G-Fred here. Yep. That will be a trade there. I guess the big thing is, well, I guess no, the Sword Strike bounces back a unit with 2 or less HP, so we could just go else. We can go, yeah, I think that's our play. I think our play is to go drop this, play the Kira under it, attack into this, select to bounce back to hand. Then that gets -2 AP with the Kira, but it won't matter. This is just a straight trade between each other, so it'll be 6 on 6. We just trade out. And then we can drop the white base, get in the Amuro, and then we can end the turn. Or sorry, that's not a white base, that's Archangel there. All right, we do have now the Unicorn that can come down this next turn. We are now seeing bodies getting spanned up on the board state, which is what you expect to see now. All right, so we have another Unicorn as well. So what do we want to do this turn? Let's go play Amuro under the Rift so that we can rest this. We can drop the Unicorn, play Bonanger, burning the extra resource, draw 1. There's the OG Papa Gundam. We can then attack and kill. We can select to rest that. We kill that off the board. The big question is, do we want to deal with... I think we deal with the 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄 too, the one from the starter deck here. This doesn't kill us because Amuro gives us an extra 1 buff, but this does mean he does get to search a top 3, so he could potentially add. Okay, so he's going to add a G-Fred. So unless he's got the Nan in hand that he can utilize, there's not much of a reason to worry about that one. We still have another blocker we can utilize here with dropping down the Sword Strike. And like I said, he's burnt through most of his hand. Most of his bodies have been burnt out. That would be his 3rd copy of G-Fred, unless he's got another copy of the Sananju. So we were just going to see an immediate murder with the G-Quux, and then we're going to go Nan. Then we're immediately going to be able to kill off the Rift. All right, so we're just going to trade forward to that. All right, well, that did suck. Now we had the G-Fred with the Nan. Because again, this can equip to either Machu or Nan. All right, what do we want to do in this state? Guess we'll drop this, and then end the turn. We've only had 1 Bonanger, by the way, so we should be seeing a couple more. This immediately can trade out with the with that, so we'll be able to trade out, not making sure we don't take damage to the base. We could potentially just keep it standing as well and not care about this because this just goes and kills the base here. So, because they're just going to skip the turn. We do have the Amuro now. Let's play this OG. Play this under that. We have 5 standing. We can select to rest the G-Fred. We can attack. No, cancel that one. Attack there. That way we actually can not immediately die off the board. We like to have a little survivability here. And then we attack our opponent, finally hit their base. Finally smash the base out of existence here. We can then swing because we don't have enough to play either of these, we can swing the Sword Strike at our opponent and then we Archangel to restand it. So they only will have one more card per turn, unless we bounce them a pilot. Then we activate the effect, select, pay 2, restand, and then we will end the turn from there. Alright, meaning that if this comes swinging in, we're just going to immediately trade out the Psycho Gundam or the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄 into this. They did get the Zanzibar, add 1 shielded, and then if it's your, you may deploy 1 Zeon unit. This immediately has high maneuver, by the way, because he's attached, so that immediately kills off our base. So I can't block that one out at all. 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄's coming down. We'll just, that does not have high maneuver, so we just block here and knock each other out. So that will be a trade here, and then basically I can trade this into this, killing it, and then like I said, there's not really not much else they can really do at this state. Alright, so what we're going to do is, I think we are going to drop this one, drop this one. We're immediately going to kill off this. That sucks because they do get to touch the top 3, meaning that they do get a potential of a body. Or they could whiff it, but I think honestly we just got to get the bodies off the board, keep them off of it. We're running out of ways to protect ourselves. We haven't seen any of our blockers when we're running out of things to actually do, so we're just going to smash up the base here. I can't seem to find a Bananger, which would have been really nice, because if we can find one of our other Banangers in the deck, we can have the Unicorn go off here. So we're just going to go to end turn. We restore our 2. OG Papa Gundam's all fine. The only thing is that they drop up 2 words of 3 bodies, and I do not see a Kira or a blocker in this next draw. We are basically dead. Alright, so it's only 2 bodies here. If we can see the Bananger, that's great, because then we can use this to get us the Bananger. Or we could just get ourselves a nice token, so we can play this. Probably should have dropped that one. We're going to play out the 2/4. We can still play this unit. We can then attack. The only fear is if we hit them a char. If we hit them a char, that's dangerous because we're basically giving them access to it. At this point, I think I'm fine just playing on a little bit of a defensive side. Because if they find a char that can attach to a Zaku unit, then we're pretty well dead because he just bypasses the blocker. So I do not want to bounce him a pilot that he can then utilize. Like he could drop the 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄 here and then basically hit me in the face with it, which is dangerous. I mean, the only other thing is if we happen to hit a Corsica base or the Archangel. Yeah, I mean, there really was nothing else to do. Unless the 2 cards in his hand were a pilot and another unit, there was just nothing. Or if this was a base, we could do that. But nonetheless, we won with Unicorn blockers against Zeon Rush/aggro. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Once again, the Unicorn blockers deck that I played is down in the pinned comment so you guys can see what I was playing. And let me know your thoughts on the gameplay. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Modern Dragons TCG.